Hey there, drone fans. Rick here again from Drone Valley. Well, today's the big day, and if my timing is right, it's about 2 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon, November 28th, and just minutes ago, DJI has announced a brand new product called the Osmo Pocket. Now, there's been a ton of speculation about what DJI would be announcing today in New York City, and it turns out a lot of the rumors were right. It's a smaller version of the Osmo, which has a ton of features built into it. Apparently, the wizards at DJI have been working hard on a device for probably the last 2 years to release it at today's event, so I wanted to get a clip together pretty quickly. Now, the challenge here is today's clip's going to be a little bit weird for 2 reasons. Number one, I'm actually at the event right now, so how could I be making a clip? I was lucky enough to get a sneak peek at this product a couple of weeks back, and I've been under NDA ever since, so I couldn't talk about the product, but I've been working on this clip to give you a feel for what the product looks like. The other reason this clip is weird is I don't actually have the product in my hands, so my NDA only gave me access to the manuals and the materials around the product with specifications and a bunch of other details, so I don't really have the product, but I promise you, I'm at the event right now in New York City. I'm going to do a ton of clips on this product, and if I can sneak one of those things out in my pocket, it's coming home with me, and I'll be doing a review here. I'll try to get some footage from the floor as well and give you guys all the information you need to understand this product, but I thought, in the meantime, since I have the manuals, and I'm a bit of a nerd, I've been devouring those over the last couple of weeks, and I can put together a really good presentation, I think, on exactly what you're going to see with this device. Now, since I don't have one of the devices on hand, I do own the original Osmo, which I love an awful lot. But it's big, but it's functional, and this thing is fantastic. It goes with me everywhere, does a phenomenal job of recording video and audio, and I just love it, but it is big and bulky. So to give you some size comparisons between the new one and this one, let's take the gimbal off. Let's also take off the phone holder. And again, I haven't had my hands on it, but what I can tell from the specifications is that the device you're going to see released today is about this size. It might actually be a little bit shorter than this. So it really is a portable, kind of a category killer device for vloggers and people that love to do video recording and take pictures when they're out. Now, I'll give you some of the specifications in a minute to explain exactly what you're going to get in that package. And I also want to give you a walkthrough of the owner's manual, because I know a couple of people have gotten early versions of that and done kind of spy cam reviews of that owner's manual. I actually have the original owner's manual. I'm going to go through it and show you exactly what you get with the kit and point out some of the cool features they built into this product, because it is really more than just a tiny little screen with a Hasselblad camera jammed on the top. They've really thought this thing through, and some of the accessories that are coming out for this thing down the road are absolutely awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the specifications. For starters, you're going to get a camera that'll shoot 12 megapixel pictures, and it'll also do HD 4K 60 frames a second recording. So what you've got really is the original Mavic Pro type camera. Now, it is a smaller sensor. It's going to be a 1/2.3, but that's plenty big for a 4K, especially at 60 frames per second. So I think that's going to look fantastic. Just like with the original Osmo, you're going to have a 3-axis stabilized gimbal, which means you can move your hand around a lot and it's not going to jitter. You're going to have a rock solid picture of whatever you're focusing on. It has a dual microphone setup, so when you hold the unit, and I'll show you this in a second when I show you the blow up from the manual, you've got a microphone on the bottom and you got a microphone in the back, which means when you're doing vlogging, if you're doing interviews, you're going to get both sides of the camera and record the audio from both sides. There will be an accessory coming out where you can actually attach an external microphone to it as well, in case you want to use a lapel mic or you're going to use a boom mic, so that's pretty cool. They built some of the smarts that come with their drones into this product, so it's going to have 3 modes that you can put it in. It's going to have active track, it's going to have panorama, and a time-lapse mode. Now again, I haven't played with any of these. I promise you, once I get my hands on this hot little device, I'll spend countless hours in the lab here down in the basement and also out in the field showing you exactly what the capabilities of this product are. But for now, know that it's got 3 intelligent modes with it. Again, I think it borrowed a lot of that technology from their drones, and good on them for doing that, because I can't wait to test that out. It also has a touchscreen, so on the back of it, and again, I don't have the unit, but on the back of it, there's a small touchscreen which will give you a live view of what you're recording. It also gives you control over how the gimbal moves and what kind of settings you've got inside the unit. So it's a pretty self-contained device that when you bring it along, I mean, I can see myself using this every time I travel, and I spend a lot of time on the road, and I have to carry big gear like this with me. Having this thing with me means that I can record in places that I wouldn't normally take this gear. So I expect this thing will be with me wherever I go. The last thing I'll talk about is the application. So you can't use your DJI Go 4 application or the original DJI Go application. It's a brand new application called the DJI Mimo app, and it's specially built for this new Osmo, and a lot of the features that are built into that application really exploit the functionality of what this new product is going to look like. So stay tuned for a second, and I'll walk you through the manual, because I want to point out some of the key features that you may not hear about at the launch. This next grouping of slides come from the actual user's manual, and I know there's been a lot of sort of bootleg copies of it floating around out there on the internet, but I wanted to give you clear views of exactly what you're going to get with the product. So it is called the Osmo Pocket. And if you look at the in the box section, you're going to get the unit itself, and you get a nice little carrying case. Now, the carrying case is a great way to protect this thing when you're traveling, because as you can imagine, the gimbal's fairly fragile. So you want to keep this thing stable when you have it put in your pocket or you have it in your suitcase with you when you're traveling or your backpack. Underneath that, you'll see a smartphone adapter for both USB-C and Lightning. And those are going to become important in a minute, and I'll explain what those are. And then a power cable. Now, the cool thing is the unit charges through USB-C, which is the latest standard, which means you're going to get a quick charge. You can use battery banks to charge it. You can charge it in your car. So they've really thought of everything when they put this unit together. On the introduction page, it talks a little bit more about what this product can do. As I mentioned before, it does 12 megapixel stills, can do stable video with a 3-axis gimbal up to 4K 60 frames a second. Onboard touchscreen gives you the live feed from the camera. You can connect a mobile device up to the unit, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute, which gives you much more expanded visibility into what you're recording and control over how the video is being recorded. But I wanted to go through just a basic understanding of what components are on the Osmo Mobile. So if you look through this list, the first one is the camera, obviously. You can see there are 3 motors, a tilt motor, a roll motor, and a pan motor. There's a ventilation area to let all the heat out because these things tend to get pretty hot. Then there's a status LED on the front, which gives you a good indication of how well it's charged or if there are error conditions and if it's recording or taking pictures. There's a micro SD card slot, and I don't have the specifications yet on exactly how large a card you can put in there. I'm expecting certainly a 64 gig, 128 will probably be supported. You'll want to go with a pretty fast card. They talk about a class 3 card on here, but I try to get as fast a card as you could. Underneath it, you've got the USB-C port for charging. When you look at number 11, that's the power button mode. That's how you turn it on. You can actually turn it on by touching either one of those buttons or touching the touch screen itself. It'll turn on from there. We've got the microphone. Number 12 is the second microphone, which again is facing you when you're looking at the screen. 13 is a universal port, and I'll explain what that is in a little bit because that's a really interesting feature that they've built into this. And then the last, number 14, is the touchscreen itself. Now again, once I have this unit in hand, I'll do a much closer view of it to show you exactly what these things look like and how you would use it in the real world. So again, operating the Osmo Pocket, to operate it, you can turn it on, like I mentioned a second ago, by touching any of the buttons or the touch screen. You'll charge it just like you would any other portable device through the USB-C connection on the bottom, and you can use pretty much any charger you've got that'll supply enough current for it. I would recommend with most USB-C devices, you have a wall charger that supplies at least 2 amps of current. If you have a USB-C charger, even better. I don't believe the unit comes with a charger, so you have to either charge it from your computer or charge it from one of the chargers you already own. So let's talk a little bit about the universal port. So in the center of the Osmo, it looks like a little slide door that opens up, and that's a cover to protect that universal port underneath it. Now when you slide that cover off, you can connect up one of 2 what I'll call port connectors, either one for the Apple products, the Lightning connection, or a USB-C. I don't know if they'll have a micro USB connector for it. I assume they will. It doesn't come with one, so hopefully they'll make that available as an option, because what you're going to use that for is connecting up your mobile device. So typically it'll be your phone or your tablet to the side of it, and you'll need to plug into the bottom of that to make the connection, and that's how you would fire up that DJI Mimo app. And once you connect it up, and again, I haven't played with it, but I'm assuming what I'm going to see there is exactly what I'm recording through the front on the camera, and it'll probably give me control over how I pan and zoom and all the other cool features that are in there. This next section explains how you can activate the Osmo Pocket using the DJI Mimo app. You can see from the diagram that it's tethered to your device through that universal port connection, which allows you to complete the initial setup and make any configuration changes. I'm also assuming that device can act as a viewfinder for any video you're recording through the Osmo Pocket. DJI includes a Lightning connector for that universal port, which will support all of your Apple devices, as well as a USB-C connection for all your Android devices. Unfortunately, the Osmo Pocket doesn't offer a wireless connection natively, so there is no Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connection, but the good news is there's an accessory being launched right after the release of this product that will enable a Wi-Fi connection where you can control this thing remotely from up to 10 meters away. The next section talks about installing the micro SD card, and this slot is located to the bottom on the left-hand side of the device. Now my recommendation is to use the fastest card you can afford to put in the device, and I don't have a specification on how large a card it'll support yet, but I'll find that out at the show. I'm assuming a 64 gig and a 128 gig card will work fine in the device. The next section talks about charging the Osmo Pocket, and that's done through a USB-C connection on the bottom of the device. I like that they've moved to USB-C because that's the latest standard for portable devices, and it just allows you to charge a device a lot faster than you would over a micro USB. Now I don't know yet if we can transfer video out of the device over that same USB-C connection, but that's definitely one of the first things I'm going to try when I get this thing home to test it out. The last section shows you how you can store the Osmo Pocket in its case, and it's a bit of a half case, but you can see from the diagram, you'll want to orient the camera facing down so the lens is protected. Then you'll slide it gently down in that sleeve and close the flap over top of it. Now I like that they include a case because it is a bit of a fragile device. You don't want to scratch the lens, you don't want to damage the sensitive gimbal. So having a case like this that secures it when you're traveling, so when you throw it in your backpack or your suitcase or even in your pocket, you know that everything is protected. I hope you found this brief overview helpful in understanding exactly what you can expect from this brand new product from DJI, the Osmo Pocket. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm not actually here right now. I'm at the launch event on the floor, and I guarantee you by this point, I've got that product in my hand and I'm starting to test it. So expect a lot of clips to be posted to the channel over the next week or two, explaining what the product's about. And if there's any chance I can put it in my pocket and get past those big burly security guards at the exits, I'm gonna run like crazy. Now, I can't run real fast because I'm an old guy, but I'm pretty good for short distances. So if it's a short hallway, I might actually make it out of the event with one of those products. But before I go, I wanted to try and illustrate what a game changer I think this is. Because up until now, if I wanted to take a stabilized gimbal with me, I'd end up with a product like this, which is a wonderful product. This Osmo product has been something I've been using for the last couple of years. It does an amazing job. But what they did with this product was take this concept, took the camera from the Mavic Pro, and I'm going to try and approximate this as an engineer if I had some duct tape, and took that gimbal assembly and mounted it on top of a handle like this, but then shrunk it down to a tiny size. So what I've got is all the brains, all the image stabilization I get in the Mavic Pro up in the air, or I get on the Osmo on the ground, on a smaller handle. And then they've taken some of the software around the autonomous functionality of this, and they've built that into this Osmo Pocket as well. So what you're getting, in a lot of ways, is a hybrid of these two core technologies that DJI has been working on over the last couple of years. And they've really brought it to a sense of accomplishment with this one particular product. Now again, I haven't played with it a whole lot, so I'm speculating a lot here, but if I look at the specs that are out in the manuals, I compare it to what I've seen before in their flying products and their terrestrial stabilized gimbals, I know it's going to knock my socks off. And if you're half as excited as I am, this is a product you're going to own. So let me ask you two favors. Number one, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please hit the subscribe button down there. It's important to us to keep the channel growing because my invite to these kind of events depends on how large my audience is. And I don't like to pander, but if you haven't subscribed and you're enjoying the clips, please subscribe to the channel. The second thing I'll ask you is there's a link below where you can actually buy this product. So if you decide you want it, use that link. That'll help support the channel as well, and everybody will be happy. So thanks an awful lot for watching. Again, I love doing these clips, and I am excited like nuts about this product. I can't wait to get my hands on it. So stay tuned. You're going to get a lot of updates with me over the next couple of days. I'm having a lot of fun. I hope you guys are as well, and you're getting plenty of flying in. Until next time, happy flying.